Snap. They put us on the internet again.
Wow.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. Hey, Thomas.
Hi, what's up? How are you, brother?
Doing well.
Yeah, good. Cool. Your lower third says that you are Joy, which is awesome. So Joy,
I am joyful.
Joyful. He is quite joyful. Joy is not joining us today. Her internet was down. There's an outage. So this is going to be a little bit of a different vibe of stream. We're going to have a little less Joy. I am dialing in remotely from a family gathering. So I am also on a little mobile setup. Litzov is the only one doing stuff normal today, but we're excited. We're excited to be here.
Yep.
So yeah, for those who don't know, hi, I'm Thomas Winkley. I work on the technical marketing team. Well, I'm a technical marketer for the education team here at Unity Technologies, and I tell people that making games is cool. So making games is cool. I've done my job.
There you go.
And
now you can retire, Thomas.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm Utsav. I'm a product manager in the education team. I used to be a game developer, and I'm here relearning how to make games with our super awesome marketing advocate, Thomas.
Yeah, it's been a journey. So for those that are tuning in maybe for the first time and don't know what this is, by the way, hello to the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat. It's wonderful to see you all. We are trying to build a vertical slice of a game in about 8 weeks. So this is the 5th episode. We have systems kind of working. We spent a lot of time working on like our pickup interactions and tables. We've got some wave spawning functionality set up, and really we're getting to a point where we want to tie a lot of that together. But yeah, the end goal is to say, can we get this done? And how are we feeling about everything? So every episode we start off with exactly what we're going to do right now. It's called a scope check. Scope check. So we've been doing a lot of research on a few things. So the game is a isometric kind of twin stick shooter style game. We're throwing tacos and food at monsters. How are we feeling about where we're at after the last week of coding? I guess let's start with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For me, I think we haven't started on the network code, which is a little concerning, right? I know you did a lot of research and that gave us a little more context on how that could be troublesome. And, I think yesterday we had a very long meeting, right? Yep. And we were trying to figure out how to do player interactions, and we'll walk through that today. But my concern right now is, at what point do we move to network behavior, and do we have time to finish that in terms of our scope?
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, I'm a little nervous about that as well. I did some more research actually yesterday, but we didn't get to talk about it in our meeting. And the next thing that I need to figure out is how we're going to handle our transport, right? Our network transport, which looking at it, Unity does have a transport solution. So I think we'll probably use that. It's called Relay. And so I think we'll probably use Unity Relay for this. But that is a concern that I have, right? And I almost wonder, we can talk about this more, but I almost wonder if it makes sense to do like a netcode related stream called netcode check or something to like convert the application, right? Because one thing, so full disclosure here as well, talking to some people on our netcode team, having those conversations, if we were doing this the right way, we would have started architecting and using netcode right away, right from the jump, right?
Right.
But that's the right way. And I feel like there's some value, and maybe you can tell me what you think about this, but I think there's some value actually educationally in converting the application. Alistair, we are the biggest dorks. And the reason why I feel there's value is because the thing that started really triggering how this would work for me and making me understand what I was going for was actually when I started thinking about, okay, here's how I think about it in the context of a single player experience. Here is how I should think about it from the context of a netcode experience. And it actually really helped me map the differences. And so I think that might actually be really valuable for everybody, even though it will be a little more challenging and maybe a little bit more work. I think it's actually valuable because it gives us a really good learning of what the difference in the architecture are.
Yeah, no, and just to kind of build on top of that, what I would say is I think if you're trying to do net code and build a game and design a game, it could be very overwhelming at first, right? And the
Yeah.
way I think of this stream is kind of more beginner level, where you're new to Unity or you haven't used it in 5 years, and if I was coming back to Unity, I'd want to start with something simple. And then, like you said, when you start thinking of it in terms of network behavior versus single player behavior, then you start understanding the differences. Then you start understanding different systems within Unity, and in this case specifically netcode, right? And you understand how the input system works when you do the input for a single player, like I did, and you understand how network behavior works when you start digging into netcode and seeing how that works, right?
Yep.
So I do think there's a lot of value in kind of going through each package, each kind of module of Unity that you're trying to learn, and then learning it one by one. Because I think if you try to do everything all at once, it could be very overwhelming very quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think that's what I think about. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. The one thing I would say from a scope check perspective is if we are not able to begin implementing netcode by next stream, it might be getting the axe, or be putting off to a secondary feature, like a secondary thing. Because I still want to do it. I still want to learn it. Something I want to reiterate. So there's a lot of folks that are saying it's their first time watching. First of all, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. So yeah, we're making a game in 8 weeks, roughly. We're on week 5 right now. So, okay, we've done our scope check. As far as all the other systems and interactions and pieces, I'm feeling really comfortable. I think we're going to have a complete vertical slice of single player or even like shared screen cooperative done. Like I actually don't have any doubts in us finishing that. I think we're in a really good place.
I'd 100% agree with that. I think if you take away the multiplayer aspect, I feel very comfortable with our timeline. We've even added a little bit of scope, I would say, right? Like adding some kind of whole different interactions, right? Toggling through different kinds of food, different damages for food, right? And then we can talk about that as we kind of walk through what we've done over the last week. But in that sense, I feel pretty comfortable.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with you there. Joy, of course, is in the chat, so she can let me know what she thinks about it as well. Someone's commenting on my hat. Thank you. It's one of the first hats I purchased when I began wearing hats, and it's got a little arcade stick on there, and I like pushing buttons in fighting games, so it's a good hat. It also has a pin for swords and shovels, which is the first gaming project I ever worked on. So overall, it's a win. Okay. So, by the way, Jason Spatial, I see you in chat. What's good? Joy, Sergio, glad you're here. The Bull, welcome back. Kamal, first time, welcome. Ali, hello. I saw Geek Barbie in there. Hello. Okay. So that being said, let's review some code and talk about what we did last week in between sessions, because we are coding in between sessions. Yeah.
Do you want to walk through what you've done last week, Thomas? And
yes, let me find my one screen parsec. Okay, cool. Here we go.
And so while you do that, I'm just gonna kind of put it out there. Since Joy is in the chat, we're gonna just read through Joy's code once we're both done with our code and see if we can make sense of it. And Joy, feel free to assist us in the chat.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go through and just figure out what we all did this week, right? So if it's okay, cool. First, I'm gonna show you what I did because I'm very comfortable with that and I can do it quickly. So if we jump into our scripts folder here and we jump into mono behaviors and then I have a waves folder. So what I did in waves, I think we've already reviewed it, but just for a quick run through, hopefully everybody can see this text okay. So we have the wave extending mono behavior, and the wave is really just data container. We covered this last week, but just to be sure, it initializes a first wave, it progresses a wave, and it can add enemies to the wave. I'm getting an error there.
Oh, that's not an error. That's just a boxing allocation. Right, just writer things.
Okay, just a writer thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is all good and everything works great here. We're set. So that's how the waves work, right? They're a data container. They have, what the enemy count is, how long the wave lasts, all that stuff. And we're not using all those variables yet. So if I go back to Unity, we can then pull up the wave manager. The wave manager has states of pre-wave and running. We've got the event to toggle that. And then on start, it subscribes, and on destroy, it unsubscribes. And then basically, if it's in pre-wave, it tells the spawn controller to stop spawning. If the wave number equals 0, it's going to initialize the first wave. Otherwise, it's going to progress the wave. And then it's going to invoke changing the wave state to running. And then it's just going to follow it through. starting the coroutine. So I did clean up a little bit of my code there just to invoke it right here. I think I was doing an assignment and then invoking instead of just invoking it because the wave state changes inside the invoke. So that y'all can see that. And then, so you go back up here. Yeah, so the wave state changes inside the invoke, so we're good there. And then the final piece of what I changed is I actually got into the game manager and started tackling how this all integrates. So if I go into my utilities folder here and I look at our game manager, you can see now that I did set up like an on game state change delegate that we can utilize and call. And then basically the game state's going to equal the new state. It's going to run through a quick switch statement. It's either going to say, is the game running? If so, set the on change, set it to pre-wave. Then if the game is ending, do an end game call. And then we just have like a basic pause game function. And I just stubbed those up, right? So we just have like an end game and a pause game, but they're not actually doing anything. And then I did set up an access to the on scene load event so that when the scene loads, if it is the main scene, it'll start the game state to game running, which will then push it forward into the pre-wave state. So then the wave will start. That's pretty much it.
Nice. Cool.
So that is the work I've done. So it's off. Do you want to pull up Joy's code and we'll start wrestling through it?
Yeah. Do we want to give me my mouse back? Come on, man.
Oh, sorry. Let me minimize parsec because I only have one screen. So if I don't minimize parsec, it's going to be a problem. Okay, done.
Yeah. So should we quickly walk through what I was doing and then we'll go back to Joy. So Joy and I were kind of trying to figure out how we're going to manage kind of the interactions between, how to refresh ammo, how to collect ammo, and things like that. And this is stall behavior that Joy wrote, but I'm just going to quickly walk through the player controller real quick. So last time, we created the ammo inventory and character ammo dict, and we wrote some temporary code. This is some other temporary code that I wrote, but we wrote some other temporary code that will allow us to just collect some pizzas and throw them away just to test it out, how that interaction would look like, right? But we've changed that a little bit. And also our interaction is now a hold button press down rather than a single button press to collect, right? Because we want to take, the player wants to take a second before they do. So that's where this interaction, and I'm going to go into actions and kind of show you how that changes anything. So if you look here, interactions is completely new. If you look at toggle, there's no interactions or processors. In interact, there's now an interactions. Now, if I open input settings, you'll see that there are some default values. So in case of default hold time, there's a 0.4 second value, which means that the player would have to hold the button down for 0.4 seconds for the input to register as performed, right? Now you can change that for each interaction. So for this interact, we put it at 0.5 seconds, and we'll walk through why we put it at 0.5 seconds.
And to make sure I understand this, so there's states here, right? Maybe I closed everything that was bandwidth consuming because I am in a lower bandwidth situation, so I was kind of ignoring you a little bit. But to make sure I understand this, so there's states inside this context, right? And so when it finishes that timer, that state is going to go from is actuated to is completed, correct?
Correct. So essentially, this is the states right here. So if you see, I create a hold reference in case instead of an input value, this is an input action, and I'm holding that reference in this input action interface. If you see, started is when the player starts pressing the button, it becomes started, right? And then we have the context, and we can start any action here we want to, right?
Cool.
When the player hold is completed, then the state changes to performed. And that means it was successfully held down. And canceled is if the hold was, like if the player stopped holding the button down before the 0.5 seconds completed. And in that case, it would be canceled. So those are the three different states for the hold interaction. And you can create your custom interaction, so you can create your custom state changes, but that's an advanced topic that I'm not going to talk through. That's just what I learned trying to figure this out, trying to learn this new system.
Perfect. And I think in our real quick, is there a possible for you to blow the text up a little bit bigger in Writer? We've got some folks watching on mobile that are having trouble seeing some of this text. So if we could bump that up a bit, that would be dope.
Yeah. Did that help?
I haven't seen it yet. I've got to wait on the delay a little bit for me. Yeah, that's better. Cool.
Okay.
So okay, no, I'm really digging that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And for what we've decided to do, because getting access to the timer is not really something we found a way to do easily, right? And so we're actually going to decouple the UI timer and the instance timer and just make sure their timing is the same and that they start and stop on these event calls, right?
Yes, right. So I think that's a good segue into Joyce code, right? Because essentially the hold button press down input action, we already saw the timer was 0.5. Let's look through Joyce code and see why that timer is 0.5. So I'll just continue taking the screen since you're on your remote setup. But why don't you walk me through if you want me to move around and do other things?
Okay, cool. I'm going to use Parsec just so I can see a little bit better. So Joy has written us a stall behavior, and the stall behavior is managing what the stall does, right? And the stall is where you pick up food. So we've got some variables here. We have our table ammo type, which is a ammo, and ammo is a scriptable object. And something I love about Writer right here, like you can see, we actually see what the field is in Unity, right? It's assigned to the hot dog ammo asset because that's what we were working on.
Yeah.
And then we have
I just quickly, you can go to definition by pressing F12. Writer is so nice. You can do it in Visual Studio too.
That's such a nice feature for these IDEs. So then we have like a text for the collection prompt. We have a fill ring, which is our UI. We have a collection timer sex, which is how long it takes the collection timer to fill up. And then we have to get a reference to the inventory, right? This is the inventory that we would be adding to. I think we might be moving some of this functionality over to the player controller, but then we have our in cooldown Boolean. I actually added this and modified it this morning just because there were some errors we were having due to some merge conflicts. In collection zone is the bool I added. In cooldown was already there. And so if you look at these, you can see that there's a display use instructions, which will show you how to use the interaction. You've got your fill ring amount. You've got the color of the fill ring. If you scroll down to the enumerator, so this is our coroutine, right? And you can see this input action context, which I think is some modifications we were doing earlier as we were talking about it. But basically what happens is it turns off the use instructions, it sets the time to 0, and then the current time is then set to the current timer second. So how long does it take for this to fill up? Right now, the current time is, if the current time is less than or equal to the timer seconds minus 1, then current time is implemented plus 1. And then we're going to increment the fill ring amount based on the current time divided. So you get this nice like chunky behavior as it fills up the ring. And then we're going to wait for half a second. Actually, this should be wait for 1 second. And then it's going to basically shoot it back to the top again. And then every second it's going to go through this until it hits the timer cap and then boom, kicks it out. And then the fill ring color is going to turn green. You're going to update the ammo. So you're going to actually put the ammo type inside the inventory. And then you're going to start a cooldown coroutine. And then the cooldown coroutine, if we jump down there, is basically going to set in cooldown as true. It's going to wait 2 seconds. That's our cooldown time. And then it's going to start our cooldown. And then it's actually going to see if it's greater than 0. And then do the same thing. It's going to decrement it all the way down until it turns it back to white and changes in cooldown to false. So while it's in cooldown, you can't pick up food from the stall. So we're just using those 2 coroutines to do the thing.
Yeah. So question, why do you think this should be 1?
Because if it's a 5-second pickup time, you're waiting for 1 second, and then you're going back and deprecating it by 1 again. Does that make sense? Because you're doing minus.
But isn't the pickup side 0.5 seconds? Or at least the hold button down?
Yeah, 5 seconds. So if our initial value is 5 seconds, then you wait 1 second in between doing this loop again, and then you go back through that loop and deprecate it by 1. So it'll do the loop 5 times, 5 seconds.
Oh, 5 or 0.5?
5.
For cooldown or for picking it up?
You want
5 seconds is a long time.
Well, so 5 seconds is just a variable number. It doesn't matter. But like this timer is deprecating 1 second at a time. So you want a full second weighted because it's going to deprecate every second. So even if it's a 2-second timer or a 3-second timer or a 1-second timer, we just want you want it to go down by 1 because this coroutine is getting called every frame. So it's going to check every frame and go, oh, I'm waiting for a full second. Okay, now I run this and deprecate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let's see how that works. So this context I think we were going to delete it because we were just going to match the timers, right? So we don't
Yeah.
need to pass the time, right? So I'll just delete this because we don't actually need this. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. This makes a lot of sense to me.
And then the only other piece of code we changed, if you open up the ammo or the inventory script or ammo inventory. So if you scroll down, so we did this last time, but one thing we did add in between, if you go down to the update ammo inventory, so you're going to pass it an ammo type and an amount of ammo. And then if you look, max ammo is going to be that ammo amount coming in. And then the current ammo, we're actually going to get in this bool exists call right here. So I added this, Joy, just so you know. So basically, we're doing a try get value ammo type dot get food type dot toString, right? We're basically taking that food type, taking it to a string, and that's our key. And then for the out, we're going to send that value into current ammo. And if that works, exists is true. If it doesn't work, exists is false, right?
Yeah.
And so then basically we're going to print the current ammo. And then if it exists and the current ammo is less than max ammo, then you're going to go to the ammo dictionary and you're going to basically just increment it. So ammo.getFoodType.toString. So you're saying, give me the object at this key location, and then put the max ammo value in it, equals max ammo. And then I just put a debug there to make sure it was working, which we can comment out later or delete later.
Yeah. Also, like, do you think we could have just made the key to be a food type enum instead of a string, and that would have made things easier?
But we debated this last time, and there was a concern about using enums as a key because I think it could have caused issues. I very clearly remember a conversation about it. I just can't remember why we decided not to. And I'm pretty sure it was like using enums as a key value was a bad idea. It is what we came to. I just can't remember why we came to that.
Yeah, I don't either. Because I guess if we talked about it, there must have been a good reason
at the time, but something we can always change.
Yeah. So what's our next steps, Thomas?
So we need to then get the player controller interacting with these systems, right? So that this interaction cycle is complete.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at the player controller, we've already decided that, and let's take the case of we'll let Unity finish reloads. I'm gonna close this out. We'll save it. So we added this tag, and this tag is called food stall, right? And at least the initial idea was that we'll on trigger enter right here, we'll check for the actual tag on the game object that the player is colliding with, and as long as the tag is food stall, then we'll kick off the control to stall behavior to actually create the text first and do create F to interact and things like that, right?
Right.
So what we need here is a reference to this object, not this object, stall behavior, right? So I'm going to call this one stall behavior, and we'll change the name to stall behavior, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then here I need to actually, I'm just gonna.
Ooh, that's a great question in the chat while you're doing that. So someone asked if we could run the game to see what the game is doing currently.
Should we?
Not a bad idea. Also, someone says, did Nintendo have their own engine? Yes. Nintendo does build most of their applications on a proprietary engine, as far as I know. But we don't work for Nintendo, so that's just our assumption.
Yeah, but you can get a Switch SDK for Unity.
Yeah, there is definitely a Unity Switch SDK, and there's a lot of really great made with Unity games on the Switch, actually.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I haven't actually played the game in a while, so I have no idea what bugs we have right now.
I have no idea either. I think we can currently just run around. I think Joy has some test functionality. So if you run into the table covered in hot dogs and hit F, I think you can actually start the timer and stuff.
So I did press F, but I'm not sure if something going on when I press F. Yo.
I don't see anything happening. I don't see it decrementing or doing the thing.
Yeah.
We might have broken it in our code changes, to be honest.
It might be commented out because I was getting some errors, so it's possible I commented out. Yep. But let's see.
I think that's I think that might be the stuff.
Okay, let's try it out.
That's the thing. Like every game should have a hot dog covered table. Someone asked, "What's the tip to making a top tier game?" Someone said, "Infinite budget." I mean, yes. I think also like really good user testing and practice and design, like planning. Oh, we got some. I see a no ref or something popping there.
Yeah, it says on interact because we have an input action on F2, so I think that's because it's test code, right? So essentially, what's happening is if I go back here and show you, the player controller has an on interact. This on interact, if you remember looking at our actions, is triggered when you hold F down. But install behavior, just for testing purposes, we just use the get key down to check the code, right? So basically, it's saying like, hey, the on interact is not working because it's trying to take both the actions around. But we know that this generally works, right?
Yep.
Anything else to add, Thomas?
Nope, that's pretty much where we're at in the game. I think we should start kind of trying to pull in these interactions together and see how far along we can get and take it from there.
All right. And as you see, I have 2 vertical slices. I really like looking at scripts that are interacting together.
Nice. I like that a lot.
Convenient. Yeah. Okay. So we need stall behavior. And then from when we do the trigger enter, this is where I need to. So did we want to create a wrapper for these coroutines?
I think so. I think we want to have them wrapped to start. Someone asking, what are we thinking about coroutines? They seem like messier threads and async functions. I mean, I think that's true, but also they're easier to utilize than trying to do multi-threaded code. If that's what you mean by threads. And so I think for the case of this vertical slice, they're just an easier way for us to do it. What do you think, Kutsov? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
no, I would agree. I would say coroutines are kind of messier when it comes to like thinking about asynchronously doing tasks, but I also think they're very easy to get started on. And I think depending on your scope, right, I think coroutines are probably going to work pretty well if you're not building anything expansive with tons of different interactions and waiting and resource loading and whatnot. So I think it's okay to use coroutines depending on your scope.
I agree. Okay, so let's dive back. Let's keep diving in here. Jason Spatial says there's some really good content about the verses. Jason Spatial's I consider him a pretty senior Unity dev, so he's definitely got some insight there too. So okay, let's check this out.
All right, cool. So I see that this is on enable disable, but I was wondering if we could just do it in the trigger. What do you think goes into the value? What do you think Joy was wondering to pass into this value?
I apologize. I'm having trouble seeing the screen. Let me pull up Parsec again so I can look at the giant code screen. I'm going to have to switch context here. Okay. So yeah, so I think this bool value it's just a Boolean, right? So if it's in cooldown, so this is actually this is just toggling the collect prompt text.
Yeah.
So So value is just like, I think she's just using that as what comes in. So value is just a true or false.
Yeah, but do I need to do this? Like, do we need this? Is true or false? Can I just trigger this on trigger enter? Every time you get into the trigger, you press F, and then depending,
and it turns on.
Yeah, and then if it's not in cooldown, it doesn't actually set the active, right? So technically, I could just remove this bool, I think, right?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I'll keep it true for now, just because.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Yeah,
because the way I see that working is in cooldown it's basically in cooldown is being toggled inside the cooldown coroutine. So as long as you're not in cooldown, it's going to change this value to set active text to true or false, and that's it, right?
Yeah. So this if statement may not be necessary. I'm not sure though, but I'm just going to keep it true till. Do we have Joy coming in?
Oh, I totally get what you're saying. Just set it to value. Yeah.
Oh, we have Joy.
What up?
Sorry, but yeah, so.
Oh, she's not like in screen yet. Oh, here she is. She's appeared.
She is.
Hello!
Hey, we have internet.
Sorry for the delay, friendos.
Welcome, Joy. We need you.
All right, so now that the ISP is back up, what do we got?
So shall we continue?
Joy. Yes, go on. Don't stop at my.
So Joy, what we were just discussing is your display use instructions it's a function, right? Oh, yeah. So do we need this if statement, or couldn't we just do collection prompt.text.set active value and just call it good?
So I missed
Okay.
part of this. But like, yes,
So
explain
look-
to me thought process.
Yeah, so looking at your display user instructions function, you're taking in a Boolean value, right? And then you're doing an if check, but couldn't we just say if it's not in cooldown, then just do collection prompt.text.set active and just throw the Boolean in there so that we're just toggling it based on the Boolean to tighten this code up?
Sure.
Well, also, like, what value should I be passing here? Because I thought cooldown will kind of determine that. So do I need to pass value here? How do you think of the value being passed here? I'm not sure if I need to pass that, because then couldn't the cooldown just control whether we should set the text active or not?
Well, so and again, this is me trying to remember what Sleep Joy was thinking. But we have that text that appears in specific situations, and that's when the player enters and exits that trigger point, and it's just toggled on and off. But we want to disable that toggle while cooldown is occurring, and technically while like you're gathering stuff, but like you're kind of stuck in that position anyway. So
I'm just wondering if we can just use the cooldown to determine if we should set active or not. Because I'm not sure this value is kind of helpful.
I think we just lost Joy again, so let's go back. I think you're right, Utsav, and let's take your path, because I agree with you, and then we'll see when Joy returns.
Yeah, I think what I'll do right now is I'll just set this to true, just because I want to like make sure Joy is, she's like, I want to make sure that it's her code.
Okay.
She knows what the changes are, so I don't want to just do them right now. So I'll just pass it as true, just for sanity's sakes. Okay. What's next?
So what else needs to happen? So we need to, do we write the wrapper? Because we need to basically start the coroutine, right? No, that's just on trigger enter.
That's
so
on trigger enter, yeah.
On trigger enter, you need to get a reference to the food type, right? You need to know what the food type is.
So let's look at collect ammo. Do we look at food type here? No.
Oh, you're right. We don't need to know. We just need to know if it's a stall.
Yeah.
And then you had an interactable Boolean, right? Do we need to toggle that then there?
So that is a good question. The interactable Boolean, where was I using that? That was like old code. I don't know if we need that anymore, do we?
I mean, not really, because you can just try to fire the interactable event, and if it's not, yeah, I think you do need it, because you don't want to be able to fire that event unless you're inside the food stall, right?
That's true. So what I'll do is I'll set the is interactable to be true, right?
Yep.
Okay, that should do it. And then, okay, as long as the is interactable is true, only then do I actually start doing the hold interaction. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Yep. So once the hold interaction starts, that's when we need to call the coroutine. But we want to make sure coroutine is in a wrapper, because we don't want to just call coroutine between classes, right? I wouldn't. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, yeah. So we need to write like a start collection coroutine.
Okay. So wait.
Or
we don't need
function.
to write the code. Yeah, function.
Yeah. Sorry. Words are hard.
No, just making sure. I'm like, was I confused? And I'm gonna make that public.
So you need to write a coroutine that starts the coroutine of coroutines. Yeah, so what public void, should we call it start ammo collection or start pickup cycle? What do we want to call it?
Ooh, start pickup cycle. Start ammo pickup cycle.
Okay,
I am all about descriptive names.
Yep, and I think our start needs to be capitalized, right? Because it's a function.
It is a function. You are correct, sir. Okay.
Hey, I was right. Yes.
Okay. So what are we doing here? Just running the coroutine, basically?
Yeah, we're literally just doing start coroutine. Collect ammo. Yep. And then we need to write one to stop the ammo pickup cycle, right?
Yep.
Look how good we are at this. We're professionals. Feeling a lot better after the Enum debacle of last week.
I know. I think it was a hard week. So what are we doing here? Which is the coroutine?
You're gonna stop. Yep. No, not cooldown. You want to stop the collect ammo. Yeah. Because basically, if for any reason we stop holding, if we're holding, we're not actuating, then boom, we want to kill it, right?
Yeah, you're right. So here I will say stall behavior dot to start ammo pickup cycle. Here I want to say stall behavior dot stop
ammo pickup cycle.
Yep. Okay.
And that's it, right?
Yeah, and I don't need the performed, right? Or do I need performed once it's performed? Or
no, yeah, we do need performed, because in performed, wait. So do we want to call the add ammo to the ammo dictionary? Do we want to call that from the inventory class or from the player controller?
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's already called from the stall, so we could just leave it at that.
That's what I was thinking too. So technically, I shouldn't need the performed context state, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Question to ask there though.
Yeah.
Are we still using on trigger enter on the ammo inventory to get access to that player inventory? Because that's the only gotcha there, because the player inventory needs to be called. So that would be the only case to move it into the player controller.
Sorry, say that again. I apologize.
So we need to tell the stall behavior where the player inventory lives, right? Yeah. So does on trigger enter, does the stall behavior get access to that?
I can pass it here, but we only maintain one inventory per player, right?
So maybe the player controller should actually make that call, because it's going to have a reference to the inventory more consistently.
Okay, so then how does that change? I guess the only thing that changes is this comes back in, right? But okay, let's see if we can figure this out. So you're saying basically we're moving this line here, right?
Yep, into performed.
So in this case, we will do stall behavior dot ammo type.
But you're not going to call add ammo to dict. You're going to call update ammo inventory.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
So why do you keep doing this to me? And is that on the dict? Is that in the inventory?
It's in the inventory class, yeah.
Yep.
Dot update ammo inventory, and then you're gonna pass in that food stall type.
Yep. So that I'm gonna do from stall behavior, right?
Yep.
But that's a private. Do I need a getter or a setter?
So the other thing we could do instead is we could tell the player to register its inventory with the stall when it walks in. So we could have that field on the stall and just say on trigger enter it equals this.
Yeah.
Would that make more sense?
Yeah, I think so. So you're saying we still need a setter for this inventory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that all we need?
Yep, and then just get rid of your semicolon on the right. I think that's all we need.
Yep. Okay. So then we need to do a stall behavior dot inventory.
Yep. We need a public setter though, right? Or we need a private setter on a public object. Because it's still private.
Yeah. So does the actual field can be private, but the setter needs to be public, right?
Right. So we can just write a public method for that. Because you can't have a public setter inside here, because it's got to be a higher security level or a lower security level than the parent.
Okay. So where do I write that? Walk me through it.
So you could do on line 25. I think what we could do is public ammo inventory, and then call it inventory, but with a capital I. And then you're going to do mustache brackets. You're going to do get, get semicolon, and then you're going to do set brackets, lowercase inventory equals value. No, curly brackets again. I think that's how I would do this. There's probably a shortcut I'm missing here, but I think this makes the most sense right now.
No, that's good. Dot
equals, nope, just inventory equals value. Oh, and then semicolon. So basically, then we should be able to pass that in. And then get rid of that semicolon. Yep. Cool.
Why am I getting an error here? Am I not supposed to have the semicolon before?
Oh, you've got to. So, so then because we're doing it this way, I think you have to do get brackets return lowercase inventory.
I see.
Yep. So you have to do a return. Yep, and then close that, and then get rid of that semicolon, and then do a semicolon after inventory. I don't have chat up, so if chat, if you're screaming at me, I'm sorry, I can't see you right now, but I'm on one screen today. Okay, so now you can go back over to stall behavior.inventory equals this player's inventory, however you have that set up. Character ammo inventory, boom. Yep. And then on trigger exit, you could just basically null it out.
Right. I haven't written the on trigger exit, but let's do that.
Okay.
Private void.
Autocorrect is all over you today.
I know it's smarter than me, you know. And
then do the same if other.gameObject.compare tag food stall, right?
Yeah.
Or if it isn't a food stall, return basically, and then I like the way you do that. I usually write it the opposite way, but I think that's a really clever.
Yeah, inverted. I think it just makes the code look so much cleaner.
Yeah. I really like that a lot.
Okay, so now I'm just nulling the inventory, right?
Yep.
But do I need to null it? Yeah.
Mountain Mark just gave us the best shortcut ever.
What?
I don't know if you need to null it, but because you don't want to keep. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you just want to make sure it's not interactable, right? So you could just set interactable to false.
Yeah, I think you're right.
About to hear some puppers barking, by the way. Everybody say hello to the dogs.
Okay. So I think this does our interactability set and inventory set for the food stall. Am I missing anything? Sanity check.
I do not believe so. I think you are where you need to be now.
Okay. All right. So now, to go back, we're going to display use instructions, which is going to...
Oh, and that actually means you're going to miss something because you need to display use instructions false in the on trigger exit.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Good. Smart. That's where the value comes in. See, Joy is smart. This is why I didn't remove anything.
She was thinking for us.
Yep. Okay. All right. Let me use my mouse. Okay. Yeah. What's next?
Okay. So now we just need to make the changes in these interaction contexts, right?
Yeah.
So we have stall behavior.start interaction pickup cycle. So that starts when we start. Then performed, it does the update. You need to pass in the stuff for the update now in the character ammo inventory.update ammo inventory.
So what am I passing in here, though? What does it need?
You're passing in the key value. So you'll need the stall behavior.foodtype.toString.
So we need to write getter setters for that too. Or are we? But we're doing this here, right? We're updating the ammo here. We already passed the ammo, the inventory to the stall behavior. Stall behavior is updating the inventory, so I shouldn't have to update inventory here, right?
Correct. Yeah, we can move that to the update inventory section and then just stop and start those coroutines, I believe.
So I do need to get the ammo dict again, do I? Once the perform is complete and the update ammo is completed. So basically, this is my code. Tell me if this makes sense, right? On interact, making sure it's interactable, which we set in on trigger enter. Once the actual interaction has started, we call start ammo pickup cycle, which just starts this coroutine, right? Now, as long as it's not canceled, this will continue and complete the collect ammo. Once the thing is completed, which means we're out and performed, I'm just getting the dict reference again. Do I need the dict reference again? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so I just don't
Yeah.
need,
because the reference to the
whole-
dictionary is always there, right? And that dictionary is being updated, so you shouldn't need that.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, we don't even need an on.
yeah, performed. We just need started and canceled. Basically,
That's it.
once it's started, as long as it's being held down, it'll continue. And if the player stops holding it down, then we essentially stop the coroutine.
Yep.
Okay. Do we want to test it out?
Let's test it out. Also, visual scripting is also for devs. I will just throw that out there. If you're visual scripting, you're still coding.
Yeah. Because scripting, the way I see coding is you're just putting logic, right? Like, basically, okay, ammo inventory. Let's pause it and
Yeah, let's see what we got going on here.
okay. Ammo inventory added. Hot dog has been reloaded and has 10.
So it did the ad.
Okay.
But what's this no ref? Oh, is it because the update code is there?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's delete.
Or it
that
says
one.
on interact is not found. That's really interesting. Also, what's good, Korea? Nice to see you in the chat.
Yeah. Binding flags. Okay. Let me. Should I just delete this update function?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can update it. Or you can update it. You can update the update function. Update the update function by putting the coroutines in the coroutines, please.
Okay, so now I'm gonna try playing it again and see if it works, because
Okay.
it should go to the right input action through the interact. And just for my own sanity sakes, I'm gonna make sure the input action is set up correctly. Is our hold time correct? What should our hold time be?
I think we were gonna do 1 second, right?
Okay. Okay, we'll save this asset. Also, it's something I found out is you can put your interaction on either the binding or the action itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which takes precedence over the other. And also, I remember you talking about pass-through. So pass-through will allow you to create different actions on same keys. We're obviously not doing that here, but just wanted to say it out loud. Something I found while researching this a little bit.
Also, a big call out to I'm gonna find this real quick while you're updating this. Oh, maybe chat's gone too far. It was Mountain Mark for giving us a shortcut on how to do that value set get. We missed it, but we appreciate you. We're still getting a no ref.
Yeah, we're still getting a null ref.
So it's saying that the action doesn't exist.
Mono behaviors that interact not found. Did I misname it or something?
Or maybe it didn't create the event we thought it created. I mean, we could just manually subscribe to an event here. It's called interact, right?
Yeah, let me make sure on the script that I have all the namings correct.
Huh.
That looks right? Am I missing something? Should I not do an input action? Is it an input value? Action type is a button. So it is an input action. What am I missing here, Thomas? Do you know?
I'm a little lost here on finding the on interact piece there. We have to look. See, on interact is not finding right in there. All right, to the Googs. Should we Google it?
Google it.
Unless there's an expert in the chat. Unless we got a Twitch chat GPT in here. Let's see here. Let's go.
I'm just gonna copy paste this.
Any new input system on interact missing? On interact not found.
This is how we
Ooh.
Google things.
This is how we Google. Yeah. let's see.
Oh, do I need a callback context?
Oh, that actually might be it. Yeah, you might need to do input action.callback context in there to get that linked up.
Interesting, because I thought I was just getting the reference and then creating the context here. Do you think I should
Also-
just do this?
Yeah,
And
maybe
that-
just pass the context in.
So then,
Then you could just do
dot started.
yeah, right?
Right? Is that it?
Well, but
Yeah.
yeah, because you already have the the what's it? So you're just gonna do the arrow and then somebody asking, are we using entity component system and dots for this? No, we are
No.
not. This is standard mono behaviors.
What's the error?
Yeah,
here?
I think CipherUp has the thing. You need an input action reference, enable it, and then you need to subscribe to it with that. So
Oh, I need to enable it. I think that's what's happening.
yeah. So we need to basically link that, like subscribe to it basically. Let's see if this works though. Yeah, try solder and start enabled.
Okay. Do I put the... Well,
Let's go check do you have the input action API up?
I should. Let's see if I can find
But yeah,
it.
but I don't think that, I think like we actually have to just like create it and subscribe to it, I think is what they're saying.
Okay, let's see. How do I...
Yeah. So if we look up here, let's scroll to the top, say, so proid process, var control equals context.control. So go back to,
What am I going back to? The actual...
like the actual main page here. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think what we need to do is we need to enable it in awake. So try adding an awake function and enabling it in awake to see if that does what we want it to do.
There's no hold. Do you know what I'm looking for in this? Or if you
See,
know what
game-
to do, just walk me through it.
I'm just trying to remember, like, because basically I think you need to get access to the event and just subscribe to it, I think is what we're looking for here. So go back to the code screen. I think what we can do is what I'm thinking of
Mhm.
is inside of awake in the right script in your player controller,
I don't have it.
or the start method works well. I think awake is what they recommend because it's earlier, but you just basically want to do the on enable and you want to enable it in there.
I'm enabling.
CipherUp's giving us some tips though.
What am I enabling though? Am I enabling an input action?
I don't think you need to enable it though. I think we just need to subscribe that on interact, right? It needs to somehow get subscribed to the event. Yeah. The Dora stuff. We need some Dora the Explorer vibes right now. Because I think what needs to happen here is we have our input action. See. Yeah. So Raleigh's got us here.
Okay.
So Raleigh's got void on enable player actions dot enable is what they're thinking.
Oh. So on here?
That's weird though, because our movement's working.
Yeah.
But let's try it. Let's just so basically do what is this called? Because we don't have a reference to the player actions here.
Yeah, which is why I was kind of confused. Because I would imagine, could we not do it here on interact?
That's what I was thinking. Just want to interact so you could enable disable, but we shouldn't have to worry about that. Yeah, we're using a player input component, Cyber. Yeah. So we don't have, like, we're not developing our own set piece here.
No.
So we should just be able to subscribe to that event. Maybe we need a reference to the player component. Go back to your player controller component.
Player controller component?
In Unity, yeah. On the player object.
Standy McStandenson.
Let's go back to Standy. So you have the player input, right? Keyboard and mouse, UI input module, camera, behavior, send messages. So this is doing the thing.
Yeah, and
Oh, we
there
have
is
the
an on
action set up.
interact. Yeah. And we also have the send messages for on interact.
So that's happening, right? And when on interact is called, a debug is printed, right?
Let's find out, actually. What is this? Oh, I'm just triggering interact. So it should, if it's
Yeah. So let's go see if we're even getting that. If not, I think I know where we're at here.
Okay.
I think. Again, watching us get lost on stream live is pretty much the way this goes.
All right. I'm here. I'm pressing F. I'm holding it down.
You're just getting a no ref. We're not getting that debug.
Yeah.
Stack your can you stack your or collapse your comments?
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I'm not getting it.
Yeah, so I think we need method mono behaviors characters player controller on interact not found. So that's specifically, so it's saying it can't find your function for on interact. So that means we need to subscribe on interact to an event then.
And weren't we also, would it be a custom event or coming from the input system?
It was be coming from the input system. I think we would just make an input system event and subscribe it to it. So if you go up, let me find the documentation for how we're going to do this real quick.
Yeah.
If anyone's Googling faster, I'm just looking to see in chat. Oh, make the method public. Make on interact public, my brother.
That'll do it.
Oh my god, thank you. Mountain Mark knows what's good. It's like, I can't find it because it's private. It's hidden. We hid it in the drawer and then said, find it. I dare you.
We locked the drawer too.
Yeah, we definitely locked the drawer.
Nope.
Hey, wait, nope, still a problem. Okay.
No problem.
All right, but it's not because it's private though. So I think we do need to give it access to this on interact for some reason, because I was under the impression that when you add an action, it creates an event tied to that action.
That's what I thought too.
But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's our misunderstanding of how the new input system works. Because I was under the impression that we would basically.
Yeah, I was too. Which is why I'm confused.
But if not, go to using the input system in the editor. Oh, I can drive. Let me drive.
Yeah,
I'm taking over. I was like trying to like highlight stuff, realizing I'm actually on your computer. So far, pen equals current. No, it's not what I want. So. So each player instance represents it. Actions, a set of input actions associated with the player to receive input. Each player must have an associated set of actions. We know that already. Just checking chat too. Individual camera behavior.
So if you see the behavior part right there, it says how the player input component notifies. See documentation on notification behaviors. Is that what we're missing?
Let's take a look at this.
Yep.
So we have disabled waiting started. Each action has a started, performed, and canceled callback. Each action map has an action triggered callback. The input system has a global on action change callback. So this is looking. So we got var action equals new input action. Action.started plus equals context, do the thing. This is exactly what you did, right?
Yeah.
So I think we could basically set up this.
Do you want me to open Unity or Writer for you?
I think so. Let's just go look at, because we already have our action collection here.
That's what I thought.
So I do wonder if we just need an input action, and then just bind it to it.
Okay, let me open Writer for you.
Yeah, private.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Tiago-san is right on this. Like, this is how we want to do it. So I think what we're seeing here is we just want. Let's see. Let's see here.
So you want to do a var action, new input action.
and we'll call this on interact action, just so I know what I'm doing here.
Okay.
But we already have our using statement, so why isn't this?
Well,
Red's bad, yeah.
I think it's just action, right, or input action.
Yeah, input action. Oh my gosh. So input action on interact action, just to be safe.
Yeah.
And then let's see what chat's here. That's for non-player input component users. That's what I was thinking.
But this is a player input, though.
It's a player input, though, so it should just find this, right? It should just know this exists.
Yeah, that's what I was
Somebody
thinking.
was saying that messages has some unexpected behavior. Could we change the type from messages to maybe events or something?
I mean,
Because
what do you mean?
you still need to enable. Raleigh says you still need to enable. I'm listening. We're doing it. On interact action
dot enabled.
dot enable. And then let's see what happens.
Okay. You want me to go to Unity and play?
Yeah, you do the thing. I'm trying to alt tab inside your window and breaking stuff.
All right. Oh, it was in play mode, but it was just a script update, so it should be fine.
We should change the stream title to struggle check.
What did I start with this, or did I never clear it?
Do you have it? You don't have clear on playset, do you?
I thought I did, but hold on. I'm gonna do it again. So you and I have sanity check. There's nothing on the console. Okay, it starts with the null ref on enable, which is
So player actions no longer have a reference, so we need to drag the reference over now, right? But I feel like this is the whole point of the input of the player input, though.
Yeah. So you're saying should we change this? I don't see why that would change anything.
I don't see why I would either.
Then I'm guessing the exact same thing should happen when I press F. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't change it to it still on send messages.
Yeah, I know. I was just making sure. So should I do invoke Unity events?
I mean, sure. I don't think it's going to change it, though.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So if we take a reference to the player object, we're using the player input component, so we shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
And look, wait. Oh, wait. So it's not called on interact. It's called interact. That's the whole, right?
I mean, but the function wouldn't be like that, right? So like, for example, if I go back to the script, so it's move, but it's on move. You know what I mean? Like I thought.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. And I agree with you, Cyber Angel. Player input's supposed to handle this for us. Yeah. So I'm not really sure why we would have to enable and on-enable. That should be taken care of.
Yeah, and we could like get the action context here, but that's what that's exactly what I'm doing here.
Yeah, and it's passing in the hold reference input action, and you're getting access to the context.
Yeah.
So this should be giving us all the stuff we need to make this work, but it can't find on. It's literally saying that on interact is null or not findable, even though it's literally right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to documentation because I feel like we're missing something.
I feel like we're missing something super basic because this looks like it's how it should work, and it worked exactly like that with on move.
Yeah, right? So everything else works. You must manually enable and disable actions and action maps that are embedded in mono behavior components. So wide awake. So is this what I need to do?
Fire action dot perform plus equals on fire plus equals looked. Gameplay dot actions disable. Fire action dot disable. So this, again, like this is if we're not using the player input, I think. But you could, I mean, we could get a reference to the fire action.
I mean, let's see.
Oh, that's a great question. Is interactable false?
It's
by default.
Wait, say that again. Like,
is interactable being called is false? So maybe it's not able to get access. So maybe it's trying to call it without being set there. Is that the issue? Is this actually all working, and we just have a code issue we're missing?
Okay. Let's do this. We will. Well, so as long as you go into on trigger, it should do that. Yeah, but let's put a debug log for sanity check.
Yep. And then also let's go look at the player input guide outside that menu to make sure we're doing this correctly. Because we maybe just missed a step, even though it worked for move. You never know.
That's true. Okay.
So let's just go back to that guide really quick.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can test this first and then check the guide because
here we're back in the guide.
All right. So on the left there should be I'm checking on YouTube chat too, by the way. What up, YouTube chat? Are the param types correct? I don't know. Actually, let's go look at the guide and see. Okay, so so this is the using player input, right? So go to guides, hit guides on top left. And then
is this what we want?
Using input system in the editor. Yeah, using input system in the editor. Nope, this is editor window stuff.
Yeah. I feel like it has to be in the reference and no, not there. Is it any bindings? So this is where I was getting all these. So do you see what I mean? Like
Yeah. You have your hold, you have your callbacks. Let's see. Are the param types correct? So that would be the only question is, are we setting it to the right params? The params are just a button, right?
Yeah, or input action.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I got an idea here. I'm going to go to Google while you read this. I found a quick start guide. Let's see. What's called the Unity? What is it called? Using Unity player inputs. Input system player inputs.
Yeah, because all of these enables disables are if you're not using input system.
Yeah, input system should handle all of that for. What up, Stuck on an Island? How you doing?
Okay, let's go back. I'm gonna real quick check if the is interactable is the issue here.
Yeah, I wonder if the params do just need to be a context instead of an input action. I also need the answer, Tiago.
Okay, I am not seeing. So is the on trigger enter not working? Is that what's happening?
So maybe pass in a callback context instead of a.
But wait, I don't see the debug log I just put in there. Do you notice?
Oh, is it not on trigger enter? Is that not firing?
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's comparing, and this compare is failing. I think.
Did you set this? Did we set the tag of the food stall?
Let's check it out. Okay, we did. I'm on the right one. We did. Oh, this is the right one. Yeah.
Actually, go underneath the table. So expand out the.
Oh, you think this is the one it should be?
So yeah. So go deeper into the object.
Yeah, at food station, because food station is where stall behavior lives, right? Yep. I think that was it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I mean, crud. I shouldn't swear.
All right. Let's check it out.
All right. Let's see if that was the whole issue. We spend like 2 hours troubleshooting the thing that is not the thing we need it to be.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're still running into this issue, and I'm still not seeing.
Okay, that was an issue.
Yeah. But am I spelling it incorrectly? Food stall.
That's 2 L's, 2 O's. Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay. What do you?
No, that looks right. Okay.
Oh, there's a null ref exception in the on trigger enter.
All right.
Dude, I am an idiot.
Did you just figure it out? All
Yeah.
right, say it out loud for those of us that don't. Oh my.
Right. I think this is it. Right. Why can't I do this?
Just
Stall.
other .game object .get component. .get component stall behavior.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I figured it out. I was like, I just never got the reference. That's just crazy. I just
I'm
saw
excited
that
for
and
the-
I figured it out. Okay, if this doesn't work, then I don't know.
Yeah, then we'll go back to docs or we'll move on to a new feature, but that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Clear it. Hit play. Let's see what happens. Chat, cross your fingies.
Okay. So is interactable is true now, but we're still running into on interact not found.
Okay. But at least we sorted out that one problem because that was a problem actually.
Yeah, that was a problem actually. What is this null ref on enable? We don't really care about on enable right now, right? We don't need this.
Right. We can disable that. We don't need to do that.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So what do we need to do then? I don't know why this is not getting recognized. You think I should pass the context?
Yeah, let's try passing the context through because maybe that's the only thing I can think of here.
Can I change it everywhere? Okay, there we go.
Oh, that's a good point. What if we double click the error in visuals in Unity and see like where it's actually throwing the no ref? Like give us the line and everything.
We can try that. Yeah.
Just to see like where we're running into that issue to see if that gives us a little more troubleshooting option.
Yeah, let me actually Control Z this because undo documents modification. I don't know what you're trying to say, but I'm just gonna do this. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just leave it like that for now. Let's just go back because I just want to see like where this is getting us. Like,
Yeah. You're like, what is going on? Why are we not?
yeah. I really think it seems to me that the player input might have some default events and it doesn't actually spin up new events.
Oh,
That's what it feels
interesting.
like to me, and we actually need to.
So when I do a double click, I see nothing. Like nothing opens. It just puts me back onto player.
Oh, okay,
like,
just
if
put you
don't
back
see
in
it.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely got to be the context issue then. So I think we
All
need to
right.
flip it over to context.
All right, let's
Um,
try that.
Okay, so yeah, so you want to do callback context, hold reference context, and then that'll just be dot started, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And then I just do that, right?
Yep, and then dot canceled. You've got to do the same thing on the canceled, and let's just see if that actually changes things up. Because I think that does make sense if it's the wrong parameter type.
You think it won't work?
At this point,
I still need this. Okay. So this should work essentially.
yeah. KPE is saying that all the events in the input action are also empty when you subscribe to them.
Wait, why is there a semicolon expected here?
It looks like according to Ragathian, we need to do plus equals. So plus equals, and then the empty brace here.
So this?
Oh, started isn't an event; it's a Boolean on the context. Aha! Let's go back to the.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's actually not going to work because started isn't an event. Started is a Boolean.
Oh, is it?
So actually, all you need to do is say if started, right? Let's go back to this documentation. Yeah. The actual started is on input action types. So maybe we're just looking at this the whole wrong way.
But look at this. It says action.performed context debug.log. It should do an action. It's a Boolean, but that's only returning like, okay, was it successful or not, right? It's like, is it canceled or not? Is it performed or not? But if you think you know what you're doing, why don't I let you take over writer and see if you wanna
No,
try
I
it
don't.
out.
I'm reading the chat and trying to parse. Because yeah, I think the action on the initial start. You need to check what action is defined from the context. T read value T values. The started. Okay, I have an idea.
Okay. Do you want me to open writer?
We're gonna do what I call programming in slow-mo for toms. So we're gonna start with this. Except that was way too much stuff. No, that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
We're just gonna start here.
Right now, also you have the context coming in as the argument and not the actual action.
We want the input action, right?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Let's see here. The method was not found. Check if it hits. Hold on, I'm lost on this one. If action equals performed. Yeah. On the end, the context is the type of action you just got. Oh, so on interact is the action you get back from the input system. The context is what type of action you just got. Also, there's links here that are getting broken out. So this is breaking my heart here. All right, so with that knowledge in front of us, we really just need to know. So we need to do like a dot value type stuff.
Oh, like the move?
Does it need to be similar to the move then, right? The method was not found. Check if it hits the method now. So yeah, I was really thinking about just getting rid of all this stuff and just debug.log hello, something so we know what it is.
Okay. Here, I'll go back to Unity and...
Go back to Unity, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Learning stuff on the fly. Learning that I'm bad at reading documentation. Okay. We're set to clear on play. Let's just go see. So I think we're still going to get the error, right? Also, what's input latency like over parsec? Okay, we're here. F. So it's not actually failing. So the hold action is being called. It's not actually failing until that actuation is passed. So we know that is the issue here. You can also use breakpoints. I think that would be a really good idea in this context, actually, because we're seeing some issues that I want to see, like what the breakpoint is actually telling us to know when things are ruining and dying. Because I really think it's just like an interaction pass thing, and I feel like I am brain dead and missing the point right now.
Me too. Because also to be fair, I think this is my actual first time using input system. I've never used it before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, how is this thinking about things? So if you want to jump in here and maybe...
Wait, I just wanted to fix the names because...
Yeah. I'll throw some breakpoints in and see how this is thinking.
Where do you think we should put a breakpoint? Because we already know this is not triggering, so there's no point putting a breakpoint on interact, right?
Yeah, because it's getting a no ref.
Yeah. So where do you want to put the breakpoint?
So it's trying to call the on interact as soon as it hits that hold timer, right? Is when that on interact is trying to call. And then it's stopping. So can we look at player input? Like, can we look at the player input component and actually see how it's coded? Would that be easier?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Because what I see happening is we're holding down the button. It's registering that key press. And then once we hit that timer threshold, it's actually trying to call our event, and it's not finding our event. So it's not trying to call our handler. It's So I'm just wondering. Oh wow, this is really, really, really.
So I think I can see what the problem is. So on interact technically will not trigger till the hold is complete, right?
I think we just need to make an action called on interact
Okay.
and subscribe our handler to it. I really think that's all we need to do.
Okay, go for it. Here, let me write it for you.
And for some reason, my guess is because it wants us, because it's a custom action, it wants us to do that. That's what I'm thinking this is.
Well, it's not a custom action though. I'm using the hold interaction. Hold interaction is a pre-built interaction.
Okay, can we declare a, wait a minute. Yeah, so can we do, so what if we just do this and do on interact action, oh my gosh, plus equals, and this needs to have the type, right, of context.
Yeah. Or you can just do input action dot context callback dot callback context. Yeah. We still need to give it a.
What am I doing wrong here?
Not sure. Let's read it. Must declare a body.
Chad is yelling no. All right, I'm doing this wrong. Cyber Angel saying no. Let's see here. Private void on interact. All right, so they're saying we already have our on interact. And they're saying to do that, but we already have that. So this would be, oh my God in heaven, I get it. Okay, I think I figured it out.
Okay.
Y'all, oh, except for I'm typing way too wrong. I feel like we already did this, but...
Yeah, I think we did. So you know what I think the problem is?
What is that?
I think the problem is if I'm going to quickly take mouse control. Okay. I'm going to go to Unity and I'm going to go to actions. And if you look here, because there's an interaction hold, I think the interaction might have to go to the binding, because I don't think the on interact is called till the whole time is completed.
Got
you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case or not, but I want to try that real quick.
Okay.
Only because I think what's happening is that we're not actually getting to on interact till the hold is complete, but we need to start that beforehand. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just like what I think is happening.
Yep. Give it a go. I believe in you. And then if not, we'll try this next that the chat's recommending, because I think they're the next, because we've tried the callback context before.
We have, yes, and that did not work. But we could also just be trying that wrong.
We could be trying it the wrong way. Yeah.
Close this.
Yeah, so we're still getting the issue.
Yeah.
And does it give us what line? Does it give us the line? Is it just saying it's just saying it cannot find it automatically?
It just says it cannot find the on interact, but I still think the issue is the same. I just don't know how to resolve it, because I feel like maybe it should be a toggle to begin with. I don't know. Yep. I'm struggling to figure out what the issue is going on in that sense. But I think I know what the base case problem is that you don't actually get to on interact till the hold action is complete.
Yep. So I do think we should try then. So we'll do callback context. Oh my God, adding a letter.
So I think you should do input action dot callback context.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
CTX. Mm-hmm. And then we can do CTX. And then I think from here, instead of doing this, wouldn't we just do...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then what was the next one? Canceled?
Cancelled. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, let's try that. Maybe when you pass the context, it starts when you press it instead of values waiting for the hold to be complete. Oh, do you need Unity?
I'll let you drive. Yeah, will you drive?
Yeah.
That would be super funny if this is the whole thing, because we just don't have the context, so it's getting a no reference exception, and I think that could be the case.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. All right, let's play.
Dun, 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 dun. Yep. Nope. Okay, so now we're one step closer, though, I think.
Why do you think so?
Let's go see here. Yeah, we're on the right path. We're finally getting there. The context now has the input result. Let's see.
Wait, how do you know the context has input result?
Because it has a value in it.
Wait, so...
But why are we getting a no ref? Like the no ref is what's throwing me. It's not the fact that none of these other things are existing. It's like it's trying to like call that action and it's saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so I still don't know how you're figuring out that we have the context now versus we didn't before. To me, it looks like it's the exact same behavior that was happening before.
Yeah. Let's see here. It's almost 1 o'clock. Let's keep driving on this for a second. Because all these developers in the chat are dying slowly on the inside. Will you bring up Visual Studio again or Writer again?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. I already know this isn't going to fire, right? Because we're getting the no ref. So we need to... So this input so we have input value coming here on the on move, and that is coming through. Then we're getting move equals value dot get vector. Context CTX. But if it's not enabled, it wouldn't be looking for the function, I would think.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, let's try that because we did change that we're passing as context. Yeah.
Yep. But that means we need, if we're going to enable something, we need a reference to something, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get a reference to the interaction. Right?
Yes, I think. You're still driving, right?
Yeah. Player input needs to say where we're going to use it.
I think I commented out the on interact action. Or
yeah, because we don't need that.
Yeah.
All right, so Thiago, do me a favor. Like, player input to see, like, yeah, see, it doesn't need to know where I'm using it because we're sending messages, and the message should send.
Yep.
Yeah, on move works, and it uses input value. Yeah, absolutely. It totally works. And it's saying value.getVector2. That's what's throwing us off. Sorry. If the method exists, the problem can be the component, folks are saying. That's what's got me on this weird spin. So someone asking, do we work at Unity? We both do, but we don't work on the teams that develop these products.
No.
And the context of this is us learning how to use this stuff on the fly.
Yep. So maybe, do you think on trigger enter, you want to see if stall behavior actually exists? Well, we already figured out that the null ref doesn't exist anymore, so I guess it's fine. And it is interactable as triggering from on trigger enter. So we know that stuff is working. Do we want to try to look into what's happening in stall behavior? I don't think that will matter.
I'm checking one thing because Waves Cut says we're ignoring them. So I'm just coming to like verify, but I don't see anything.
Somebody's saying we're not using input value for on interact. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. We are not using that input value. We could pull that value.
Well, but we could. Yeah, actually, you want to try that real quick?
Sure. It's worth a shot. If not, I say that we need to solve it, and we'll show the solution next week because my brain's hurting. But
yeah, so try on interact input value, right?
And just see if that's the whole thing.
Yeah, and then
Like that?
No, like the input value. Yeah.
Okay.
And then can we do value?
I feel like this isn't.
This, yeah, I don't think it is, but we can do
'Cause
value dot
it's-
pressed. Is value is pressed.
Value dot is pressed. And then we could do value dot is not if. I mean, we can do this is lazy coding, but
This is so lazy, but it's okay. We
can
want to
just do
test
this.
it out.
Yeah. We're just testing how this functions. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go to the next piece.
I think this is it, right? And we just try to see if
Yeah, now try running it and see what happens.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to fix our issue, but it's worth
I don't think it is, but I do want to see just what's going on.
Dun, 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 dun.
Event fired.
Oh my god, it did it. All right, kids. So I think that's exactly the thing, is the value is being passed through on this thing, and the value is actually the context. And so because we were trying to go through it the other way, it must have been thinking the input manager, the player input was like, yo, this is actually not what you want me to do. Does that make sense? Like, so we were trying to do it the way, not using the player input, using the player input. That's the only answer I can think of.
Oh, okay. I think
Does that make sense?
Yes. So I understand what the confusion is. So
Yeah,
if you're at the player, you have to get the value which is in the binding. But if you're a mono behavior, a different class that's trying to do some logic based on input action, then you're going to take input action. So that's why. But then I still think it probably needs a little bit of update, in the sense of like, this is, we wouldn't do it this way. I don't know how to get context from the value and do it through that whole interaction.
I'm pretty sure. Like, what do we have access to in the value then? Because we want to know if it's, we want to know like what the stage is, right? What the context is.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to figure out how to get context from the value.
Yeah.
Or should we actually do it that route and have this event be outside of it?
Yeah, so maybe we go to the same toggle side, but it has to be pressed actively for you to have to be able to reload, right?
Yep. So we just got to figure out how to get access to the context.
Yeah. Do we want to do that right now, or do we want to do that?
Let's go look and see if we can figure it out in 2 minutes. Otherwise, I say we assign homework, because we did start 15 minutes late. So we definitely do have a few extra minutes to do this with. I'm not sure what your meeting schedule is like after this, but
Fridays are a little bit better, so I'm okay.
So there's your callback context right there.
Yeah, but that's from input action.
Yep.
So we need input value, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, you're right. But I don't think the input value passes the context.
That's my concern too. So do you think instead of doing on interact, should we just do this install behavior as an input action? So essentially install behavior, we call it new player action, and then use that context to run all the functions, and then player controller doesn't do anything.
That might be the way we have to do it if we want access to that context. We might have to go outside the player input to set that up.
Yeah. Because otherwise it just remains a value and we do it the is pressed way. So here's what I want to see real quick is if I stop pressing, does that continue? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Does it toggle the event over and flip it and stops the coroutine?
Yeah.
Because every time a key change happens, that input changes.
So I pressed it, I stopped. Now I've continued pressing it. So that thing happened.
So it is doing the thing we want it to do then.
Yeah.
And the cooldown fired. You see that? The cooldown happened, which is cool.
Yeah, the cooldown happened, yeah.
The color changing isn't quite right, but...
Yeah. Okay. So I think it works then. Then we don't
It actually works this way, because...
Yeah,
because it's stopping the coroutine. Well, but no, because if you hit F, so if you hit F right away, does it immediately do it? It didn't immediately add it? It waited?
Yeah, it waited. So I'm not pressing F right now. I'm pressing F right now. So it took, do you see how the event fire took about a second or whatever the hold time is to come in? I'm still holding F down. I stopped holding F down. Nothing's changed. I'm going to hold F down again. And then you see the second event fired came up.
Yep.
But I don't know why the animation didn't show up.
Yeah, we can figure that out. But then also, but when does it actually add? When does it actually call the add? Oh, there it is right there.
Reloaded so I think the reason it didn't add is because I was already inside the trigger. So is interactable never switched from false to true.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So like if I see, I'll show you again. I'm going to start right now, right? I think I'm already inside the trigger.
Yeah, right? So you got to walk out and walk back in.
So I'm going to walk out, walk back in. Now you see how is interactable is true and event is fired. And then the hot dog has been reloaded.
But it immediately reloaded it. It didn't start the timer. So you're saying we have to write the timing function outside of the event context.
Yeah. Or we do input action in the stall behavior, and that way we can get access to the context.
Yes, we disabled the test code, Joy. Wait, did we disable? Yeah, we did. We deleted the test code.
We did. Just for sanity check. Yeah, I don't see update.
Yeah, we deleted it. Okay. I say, that was a really fun deep dive into the input system.
Yeah.
And I still feel like there's more we need to learn here, more we need to figure out here.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying, didn't these guys work at Unity earlier? I'm going to say yes, and I'm actually probably going to talk to the input system team to get a layman explanation on this. But yeah, I think this is like a really cool way to explore and learn these types of things, right? This is how you do it, and you tinker and you figure stuff out, and then from there we can decide what our design pattern needs to be.
Yeah. So, I think that this makes me feel like technically we don't need a player controller, right? We can just use actions in other classes to drive player behavior. The only real player behavior we need is probably movement, just because there's no ubiquitous class that will drive movement. So maybe player class just drives the movement piece, but everything else could technically be an action that other classes, so like shooting could be in a class that takes input action for shooting and then uses that context to actually fire events and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And back and forth. So I don't know which is the right, kind of design pattern to follow here in terms of input system. But that is what I found out today, is that input action is if you're trying to do input through a separate behavior, mono behavior. But if you're using player mono behavior, like player controller as the class, then you need value. So you don't have access to the context, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. And I think like for this case, we'd want access to the context. So I think we could even just take it outside of that player input piece, right? We could even do a combination of the two, I think, right? Like use the move and then just create an action. We'll register to the action. We'll get the context we need. So we just need to make a couple of changes to our code to make that happen. And I think where we were getting confused is we were trying to go halfway on each when really we need to go 100% committed to, we're just going to write our own custom action this week.
Yeah.
All right. So homework. The wave system's working. We have this working. I would say we need to get this player interaction finished. Like this has to happen. It's got to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I also think we need to have a really good start on object pooling. Or at least having our objects created and ready to go to be pooled. I think we should write the object pooling next week. I think that would be really fun.
Okay. And then for the homework, I think we should finish this interaction as homework. And we can just walk through this interaction on stream next time.
Yep. And we can have explanations to what we learned and why we got stuck. And we don't have Joy here, so I don't want to assign her homework without being here. But I do think we should probably get some of that in there. So maybe what we'll do is we'll add our homework to the technical design doc after we catch up. And other than that, we'll see you all, I think, next Friday. If you want to see us rambling at the cloud, you can, here's my Twitter if you want to get to know me on Twitter. I've been pretty inactive there. Here's Utsov's as well. And then Joy is the Joy of Game Dev on Instagram. And I think you're all wonderful. I really appreciate you putting up with our nonsense today. We really appreciate Twitch GPT and YouTube GPT participating. Oh, someone asked, how are we doing after week 5? Honestly, I am not shocked at how little I know. but it's always nice to be reminded of how little you know. But I think we're feeling good. I think, again, we're going to finish this. I think we'll have a nice, solid multiplayer experience. I think the only thing that's at risk, and we talked about this at the beginning, netcode is definitely an at-risk feature right now.
Yep.
But again, thank you all so much for being cool, being a rad chat, being fun. I know watching people struggle can be stressful for you as well. So thank you for sharing the anxiety with us. It's off, my brother. It's always my favorite day of every week to come do this. We've got 3 episodes left, maybe 4, depending on how things go. And we'll see you all next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And maybe next week we'll all be pros the entire time. Be well.